Welcome back to Next Stage Podcast, everyone. We have Patrick Worcester. We had an argument about, not an argument, but a discussion about this.
That was an argument.
It was an argument. Yeah, I lost it, and I'm still losing it. Worcester. Patrick Worcester on here, and he's a local musician, and I know him through first met you at the open mics at O'Brien's. I think is the first place we met. And I've seen you jump up and play with just about everybody who performs there at some point or another. And, you know, I saw you playing guitar, then you're playing keys, and then you're playing drums. I'm like, he can kind of do everything, and it's not like, oh, I'm all right at this. Like, you actually were competent at all those things.
Overconfidence. That's the
ticket. That's the key. Remember that, kids. Overconfidence is all you need.
That's crucial.
So I've seen you play all these different instruments, and I've seen you play in different arrangements and with different people at the open mics. And I know you also have the band Power Dad.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm just curious, what did you start with? Like, where did you get into music? What was your first thing? I mean,
screw you. I should have prepared for that.
I have to wait. I didn't chimeless.
Oh, there it is.
Now we're official. Sorry,
right.
Back that all up. Forget all that we just said. The podcast wasn't officially started yet. Now it's officially started. It's been chimed in.
All right, welcome to Next Stage Podcast. Yeah, so where did I start? I mean, it's a tough legend to tell because there's mixed material. There's mixed information. We don't know if it was the Costco brand Stratocaster ripoff or the
Was that
other
first act?
No, it was made by Fender, but Costco exclusive, right?
Uh-oh. Did they have a Costco sticker on the headstock?
Right.
Was it a Kirkland?
Yeah.
Kirkland?
You could get 7 for the price of 1.
It came with 6 the effects pedals.
Yep. Yeah, and free gas
that also
for a
gave
year.
bubble gum out of them.
Yeah. And it all sounded terrible. Played on it for 10 years. It was horrible. It's called the Starcaster, and it was glittery and purple.
Ooh.
Right? There's nothing manlier to start on to really.
Do you still have
bash
that guitar?
No.
Oh, that'd be sick
yeah,
to bring that out and
I thought I was.
Did you light it on fire?
I thought I was this awesome guitar modder, and so I tried mixing everything up and taking the trem system out and making it in a hardtail. I tried putting rewiring the pickups, ended up breaking the whole thing. The neck somehow got snapped in half. That's a long story on that one. That thing is broken.
Took out some serious rage on that guitar.
Yeah, it went straight to the basement.
Did you secretly just not want to play it anymore? Like, well, if I break it bad enough, I'll get a new one.
I mean, if it's broken, technically I can bought a new one.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. Just break the old thing, use the new thing. So I upgraded to a Squire eventually, but that's further down the line. But we don't know if it was that first or if it was the other Costco brand keyboard.
Okay.
And that is.
Was this like a pack, like the Rock Band before the game came out?
The teach your son how to play all the instruments, so he can be the cool kid in high school. Not really. Pack at Costco.
Okay.
For Christmas on sale. No, that keyboard after a year went out of tune. How? It's a keyboard. How? Right?
Now, who do you call when that happens?
Dude.
Ghostbusters?
Yes. At that point, it's so far gone.
Yeah,
It's
out of tune
keyboard.
digital keyboard. Like, wow, that's
So it's one of the two.
Yeah.
And then to replace that keyboard, we bought another out of tune upright piano that we never tuned. So you press C, you press B. They're both C. Who knows?
So somewhere in between the amazing purple sparkly guitar and the out of tune keyboard, you became a musician.
Yeah, out of frustration.
Where did that frustration lead you next?
So I was playing, I guess my first instrument in school was trombone because you couldn't play guitar or piano. And I guess it just, I don't know, the trombone. It's easy to play when the guy next to you knows what he's doing. You just do what he's doing.
Match his slide.
You're that far away? Cool. Never learned how to play the trombone. Still to this day, own a trombone, don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And
Did you take lessons on the guitar or keyboard that you had?
Yeah. So I had a guitar teacher for
This
years.
is with the Costco guitar. I don't want to skip ahead. I didn't know.
No, she came in the pack.
Oh,
no.
okay. Inflatable, just that helium.
No, this is somewhere the story's really mixed up. I don't have a sense of time.
Neither do
We've
I.
been
We don't
here
need
like
one here.
30 minutes already, right?
It's been about 2 hours, actually.
Yeah, I've been here all along.
Right.
So somewhere along the line, I took guitar and keyboard lessons, and it was one of those things where she taught both, so we just did it. Like she
One
just,
hand on each?
yeah,
Just
right. She just came and I was like, the keyboard stuff you gave me last week was too hard. Let's play guitar. Again, out of frustration. She's a saint, God bless her. But we did it. We took care of it. I learned the instruments, but as far as like playing in school went, I ended up joining percussion because that's where like the old saying goes: if a kid is having a trouble in with their music, just give them 2 sticks and put them in the back. If they still suck, you take one away and put them in the front. And they don't have to play anything, and they're the conductor. So
Ooh,
I
that's
was
a conductor dig.
Oh yeah. I was a percussionist for many years, and I was also very terrible at that.
Was this after the trombone?
This is after the trombone.
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you faked it on the trombone. They're like, you know what, kid, you're not really doing this.
Yeah.
Did you get like de-tromboned? Like, what is that? Is there a...
deboned, right?
Damn it, I missed that. You're quicker than me. You sure you're not a comedian?
They pushed me to the back because I sucked.
Because you were cheating off the guy next to you and you got caught.
And Steven's like, what the hell, dude? Like, this is my stuff. I'm good at the instrument. You're just copying me.
You're a poser.
Very literally.
Tromposer.
Tromposer.
No, stop. I won't.
It's in there.
It's somewhere. That will need to incubate a little further.
But percussion's great because if a kid sucks, you put them in percussion and they don't have to play on every song.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's only one song that they ruin, and the rest of them they can sit in the back and talk.
Now, was this like jazz band, marching band? Like, what was it?
Very concert band.
Okay.
Very like, let's play covers of Katy Perry music to pretend we're interested in what the kids want to learn.
Oh.
It was all right. It's public school.
So what's the percussion exactly? Is it like single drums or is it like timpanis? Is it bongos? Like, what is the...
It's all of the above.
Yeah.
I played the
Timbales?
cymbals. Yeah, timbales at some point. I played the cymbals, and that means just crash on 2 and 4.
So they didn't even trust you with the stick.
No. I actually didn't learn snare drum technique until I was going to school for it in college. But then I went on to high school. I had played guitar in jazz band in middle school, and I sucked there too.
And which instruments were you attempting or whatever at the time?
In high school.
Yeah.
So I didn't really like hit my musical stride until freshman year when I wandered into the band room, and I was like, oh, this place has a piano in it, and I can just be here. This is cool. I like this. So I stayed there. I was in the marching band and played pit percussion. So it was marimbas.
What's pit percussion?
Marimba, xylophone, anything that can't march.
Okay.
So we sat in the front and didn't have to memorize any drill. We just memorized a bunch of really difficult marimba arrangements and xylophone arrangements.
So there's like a certain spot, like if you're on the field, or you stay there, and then the rest of the band does.
It's like competitive marching band. It's like this huge deal in the Northeast. And Brookfield apparently used to be really big with it. That's where I'm from, Brookfield. Okay. And they used to be huge. So they had like a bunch of this equipment that we played on. The pit is in the front, right in front of the conductor.
Okay.
So the drum major is what they're called. So they're the person that's keeping everyone partially in time. Then you got the pit, and then you've got everyone else very far away from everything. Mm-hmm. So we had to sort of deal with that. It's called phasing, and everyone would be like almost a full beat behind, and we'd have to accommodate for that.
Because of the distance of the sound to travel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's this whole technique for it that none of us learned, but it was really cool.
You're supposed to learn it.
So I was in that 4 years. My third year I went into
and that's, you said you're playing marimba?
Yeah, marimba.
No, that's the big like wooden
big xylophone
keys, and I guess I'm calling them keys for lack of a better term.
Not keys,
but do they have like the tubes underneath?
Yeah.
Like the metal
resonators.
tubes underneath.
Yep.
And I didn't realize until recently that xylophone is actually wooden and not metal. What we call like a xylophone when it's metal is actually like a
glockenspiel.
Yeah.
It's there's basically like 4 main instruments when it comes to mallet percussion. There's marimba, xylophone, vibraphone, which has metal keys and has a sustain pedal, and then glockenspiel, which is bells. It's tiny, and you just play little plinkety plink notes, and it sounds pretty.
Does vibraphone? Does it have something like spins? Or
Yeah, it
along
can,
with
right? The name insinuates that. They have them. Ours was broken because
Yeah.
it was always out in the rain and stuff. But like indoors, they have really nice vibraphones that spin around. Otherwise, you can create the vibrato with your hand,
Okay.
just by like holding it above the resonator and moving it. And then you can
so you
also,
get it in between like where the key is and the resonator?
No, actually, on top of the key.
Oh.
Yeah, just because the sound's coming straight up anyways, you can just use that as your vibrato, and then you can also use your mouth, which is like the weirdest,
Whoa, so like you're
thing.
over,
Yeah,
like-
we did that in marching band. We would like do the ow like a talk box,
Yeah.
basically, and it was really neat.
Talk box on the vibraphone.
Yeah, right?
Man, that
I
is
mean,
getting advanced.
That we're gonna go on tour.
Forget
with
about that phasing thing that like
Yeah.
matters. Like, no, we want to like make these mouth sounds over
Yeah, and then there's winter percussion that just is pit percussion,
Icicles,
basically.
right?
Yeah, right. You're playing. I mean, obviously, it's marching band, but indoors and with a lot less marching.
Oh, okay, I don't get very far.
Yeah, right. It's just inside.
Stomping
so it's warmer.
band?
Yeah, it's being indoors band.
Yeah. So this was in high school. You were in the
school.
marching band. You did the jazz band as well in high school.
Yeah, I was in jazz band. I did.
And you weren't? Were you playing the vibrato?
Yeah, the vibraphone. No, I
vibraphone
was
in
on
jazz band.
I was
or-
on marimba for my first year doing jazz band. You're testing my memory. It's really late right now.
Man, you better not get this wrong. Your Wikipedia page is gonna
Yeah,
call you
right.
out about this stuff. You know, people are googling it
People
right
from
now.
high school are like, "You didn't do that then. You did it then."
Yeah, Patrick doesn't remember anything.
God, you
I don't trust him. Any word that comes out of his mouth from here on is false.
Man, this podcast sucks.
He is all fake news.
100%. So I did jazz marimba first year I was in jazz, and then I did jazz guitar second year I was in jazz, and that was my first year that I actually gave a crap about guitar and didn't just play open chords. I also did like pit percussion for plays here and there, but that was like I've been playing guitar, I guess technically, since I was super young.
Yeah.
But when I started actually caring about guitar was high school.
And what made that switch?
Oh, because it was cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I think what actually made the switch was when I got my first debit card and could buy a guitar. I was like, I'm
Okay.
gonna buy a relatively decent. It was a
Get
Squier,
it on credit.
A Squier.
Did you hear
Strat.
that Disturbed song? You know, why don't we just put it on credit?
Yeah,
Take
that's
it to
me and
another
music.
limit? I
Yeah.
get stupefied. You're like, yeah, I'll put it on credit. Thanks
I
for
can
that.
learn that instrument if I can buy it.
I never understood that song. It's talking about like getting to credit card debt. I don't know.
You never
all
understand.
the
You call
people-
yourself a musician? I
All
don't
that,
know.
it says something about all my essays in the barrio. I'm like, what is he talking about? I get stupefied, but anyway.
Yeah, no.
So you put it on credit.
At that point didn't have credit, was 16, but I bought this what was my favorite guitar at the time, a Telecaster, still is my favorite guitar, a Telecaster in butterscotch blonde, because
Ooh, that's the Bruce Springsteen model, right?
Ted Green. Ted Green, my hero,
Who's
my
Ted Green?
Jazz guitarist,
Right.
but more commonly known as a jazz guitar educator. His most famous work isn't any album. He released one record. It's his books. His books
Okay.
are awesome, and I'm teaching now, so I'm using his books all the time.
What are those books like? Is it like your readings, like a
they're
novel, or is it
intense.
like is there like charts and like?
It's like, oh man, it's like 20 lines a page of intense exercises to get you like he's got two.
So they're like drill books.
Yeah.
In terms of here's
Yeah.
what you play on this.
They're like, if you think you're good at guitar, sit down with one of these books for an hour and you'll hate yourself by the end of it.
I already
They're
hate
just
myself. I'm never
difficult.
getting that book.
And he's got like 6 editions. Like once I got through the first edition of one series, I was like, man, I'm so good. There are 4 more. What?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to touch this. What's going on?
You're just at
It's-
base camp.
Yeah.
You haven't even begun to
Oh
ascend.
man, he's like at the end of the book. He's like, so this was just a like an easy run through for you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This took me a month. Man. Like he's incredible. But I got that guitar because it was his guitar. So
Had you already been like digging out those books beforehand? Like why did you get
I
that
didn't buy
guitar
those
if
books.
this guy only has one record and only writes books? Like how'd you know about him?
I bought that guitar because he was a jazz guitarist that wasn't playing an archtop. And that's not very common.
But you had his record. That's how you found out about him? Like how did you know about this
YouTube.
guy? Okay, so what you
Yeah.
just saw videos of him
I saw
playing?
you. Yeah, he had already passed away at the time that I was checking him out. I think he passed away in the 90s, but I don't know. I should know this. But he he had recorded a couple demos of him playing, and he was a jazz guitarist that wasn't playing an archtop.
Yeah.
And that does not happen. Like it's very like you play a jazz box guitar, you play flat wound strings. He says in his book, the next thing they'll tell you, if they tell you can't play a C in root position, they'll tell you can't play a telly in jazz.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the funny part of him. So I was like, he's a rebel in jazz. That never happens. I want to buy his guitar.
Okay.
It's not his guitar, but I want to buy that
not
guitar.
his actual guitar, but his model. Why
Yeah.
Why is it always playing a hollow arch top?
Because they sound awesome.
Yeah.
But
So it's just the tone that's associated with traditional jazz. You want to sound like the records that have already been recorded.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to get the tone that they have. So I got that for jazz band in high school, and that was my senior year. And then I kind of just stuck with that guitar for a while. But I ended up going to music school. I attended Western, the music program that they have just for 3 semesters. Mm-hmm. Ran out of money.
Oh,
But,
your debit card got maxed out.
Yeah, right? All those tellies I was buying.
Too many guitars on credit.
But I went there for a couple semesters, and I studied classical percussion.
Yeah. Back to percussion.
Yeah, back to percussion.
Why?
If I'm honest, it was the instrument that I was studying the most because I was in concert band. Mm-hmm. It was the instrument that I felt most comfortable on. And I wasn't good enough to play jazz guitar because their jazz program is just incredible. They're just
Yeah.
so good. And I wasn't good enough to play keys, which was my other main instrument at the time. So I just sort of stuck with percussion because I understood it. And I got in the program, and it's a really good program, and it taught me a lot of really cool lessons. But it wasn't where my heart was in terms of classical percussion.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it, you know? So that kind of contributed to it as well. And a couple other things.
Yeah.
But I'm just rambling now.
No, it's good. So you went into the school for that. You said classical percussion, and just the fire kind of burnt out in that realm.
Well, it's like when you're going through a really tough spot in terms of everything, whatever
so
you're
there's
doing
a lot
at
of things
the time.
like in life going on too that were just kind of
life throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
So, but I'm better for it. But I was in the music education program there, which is kind of what I have a fire for still. So that helped me a lot. But I got out of there and I just sort of did some restructuring and soul searching. I didn't play an instrument for like a year.
Really?
I was just like, that's a big change, you know, to be like in school full time, looking at being a musician for the rest of your life. And then you're like, whoa, I can't do this. So I didn't touch a guitar for a year. I worked at Stu Leonard's. And I'm better for that too. That taught me a lot of life lessons.
Why did you not want to touch an instrument? Was it a feeling of like defeat that you like gave up and like I don't deserve it? Like why? Was it like a guilt thing? Like what?
I don't know, man. Screw this podcast.
But was it one of
That's
those?
a tough question.
Was it one of those? Oh, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. That like quote you hear about people. Like if you something, you know, you got to let it go and see if it comes back to you. Was it one of those things that you thought like maybe I'll put this down and see if I come back to it?
I'd always had a natural ability for music. It always came relatively easy to me. I used to learn instruments. Like I learned just instruments. Every instrument I could touch, I learned.
Yeah.
And then when I finally like got to school, it was all focused on one thing, and music stopped being fun because I started caring so much about perfecting.
Because there was like a grade and a judgment about it.
And that was really big shell shock. So I guess at that point I was like, I can't do this right now. I'm gonna tap out. I'm just gonna put it all by the side. And then a year later, I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
That's wrong
Can't
for
get away
myself.
from it.
So I got back into it.
So you said you were in the music education track there, and it sounds like you hit a wall in experiencing music education of like, this kind of took the fun of it away from me.
Oh no, I loved education. I loved all my education courses.
You were saying that it took your passion for the music got knocked down because of the pressure of being in school for it. And I know you now teach and stuff. Like what is that? What's your thoughts about that in terms of education and music as a whole, between what you experience getting shut down by it or feeling like you didn't want to continue, and then now being in music, you educate people, give lessons. Like what did you learn from that dynamic? What did they do wrong that?
Oh, dude, they did everything right. It was all me. I'm a weird learner, so it didn't work for me. But I would say education as a whole, moving from like the program that they have there, and in music schools in general, when you're getting a degree, you're basically going to be a school teacher. You're going to be a band director, which is awesome. That's like what I wanted to do for a while. And then I realized, like, I don't think this is what I want.
Yeah.
I still love education, but I don't want to be in a position. I don't know what I didn't like about it.
Was it the idea of like being in a school system and having to deal with all of the bureaucracy or whatever goes on with that,
Schools
and
suck.
managing kids?
Yeah. Imagine having a passion for something, and then when you finally go to do it professionally, you're the only person in an entire building who does that professionally.
Yeah.
What? you know?
Yeah.
And then you have to convince young kids that they should be excited about this. Mm-hmm. Like every day you're not worried about not always, but in most cases you're not worried about like perfecting the student. You're worried about getting the student excited about it.
Yeah. So you're kind of like a motivational director just as much as a music director.
Yeah. And for some people that works, and you know what? I could probably do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And now I know there's, you hear it maybe inaccurately in movies or whatever, somewhere in culture there's this like band geek thing that gets bandied around in our culture. And like, is that something that's part of what you said about keeping kids motivated about it, is that they feel like it's not cool to do it?
Yeah, you gotta definitely make it cool. That's true.
Yeah. Did you feel any of that stuff when you were in bands in high school? Was it seen as
the
something
stigma
lame?
about they're the band kids? I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't pay attention.
I know our high school was like you're either a band kid or you're a chorus kid.
Yeah.
And it's like back and forth between the two. And that was probably one of the bigger conflicts for the band kids. Not really, but it was there. I don't know. I went to a really small
school. You ever strangle
school.
anybody with a guitar string over like a back alley fight about chorus kids versus band kids?
This on the record?
No, this isn't going anywhere.
No, it's piano wire.
Oh, thicker, right?
Better
Yeah.
tension.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it's.
I mean, it was out of tune anyway at home, so you just forget this. I don't need.
Yeah, right.
I got two
come
C
on.
keys anyway. Just take one of these.
Come on, That's right.
No, this is a really cool necklace. Here, you should try it out. This is a cool musician's
Close
necklace.
your eyes. Yeah. Your voice will sound great.
See, you hit those notes now.
No, for me, I'm really enjoying private lessons right now. I'm really enjoying like there are some talented freaking kids in this area, and when they're in an environment where they feel comfortable, then they can do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like I'm able to get I have a couple kids that are taking classes in school, and then at home they're practicing, and then I hear them in a lessons room. And I'm getting different messages from all three. I'm not talking to their teacher, but the parent says at home they're not putting time in, and then they get to the lesson and they're on fire. So it's I feel like it's a comfort level that when someone's comfortable in an environment and you need to be able to foster that, then they're able to perform.
Do you think there's a certain amount of it is kind of a performance when they're playing in a lesson because someone's paying attention? I know it's if you're playing at home, you kind of feel well, I'm learning, I'm practicing, the self-consciousness of somebody hearing you mess up or not
Possibly.
really, having the thing now, whatever it is. But then if you're, in a lesson of my instructor's here, I better show off, make sure I can do it right,
Yeah, you'd think it's the opposite, because every single little thing that they do, I'm able to pick up on it and go, oh wow, you messed up on that. And then that wears on your psyche when you're learning an instrument. But I guess a good instructor knows when to just back off and when to say something.
Yeah.
But they're able to, I guess a good teacher knows how to make someone feel comfortable in the environment that they are. Hopefully I've been able to do that for a couple students.
And how did you get into doing lessons? Because you said you took a year off of even touching an instrument. And did you go straight into giving lessons, or did you just start playing again, or have bands or anything like that? What?
No, I didn't. This is the band that you mentioned at the beginning. Power Dad is
Power
the
Dad.
first band I've ever played.
Really?
in, besides high school. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
wow.
yeah. My musical background. is
Interesting,
weird.
because I know you from the open mics, and I've seen you play like
Yeah.
with all these different people in different capacities. I thought like, oh, he's probably had a bunch of bands throughout his life. I
Because
didn't
I'm
know
headstrong. That's what it is. I
Yeah.
just jump on.
That.
But
Well,
it's
it's that. What was it you said? The overconfidence.
confidence, overconfidence. Yeah. Some people call it being a douche. I don't know. No, I went in to buy drumsticks from the place that I'm working at now, Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And the this little British dude who is now my boss was like, "Oh, you teach?" I'm not gonna try a British accent right now. You teach?
You kind of went forward like,
yeah, no.
back that one out.
What time is? Yeah, no, we're not doing that. You should consider teaching here. And I was like, yeah, okay. No, because at that time I wasn't really onto it. I was just playing drums in my spare time. Oh, I'd also learned the drum set.
Okay.
This is a total side note. I learned how to
let's
play the
go on
drum
that side
set
note.
to impress my current girlfriend. So I was
Ooh.
like, she loves
Like Love Actually,
yeah, right, like.
Rhythm is my god.
Like,
Is that the-
yeah, I was like, wow, she must think that the drums are really cool because I think the drums are really cool. So I learned the drums, and turns out she hates the drums, which I only
What
found
gave you
out.
that idea
yeah,
that she liked them?
I don't because I thought
She
they were
seems
cool.
like she likes drummers.
Yeah, I was like, drums. I like drummers. I should play the drums. She must like drummers,
Yeah.
and she hates the drums. And I found this out. We've been together 4 years, and I found this out
Did you like
last
have
year.
her over like, I want to show you something I've been working on.
Yeah,
it's
right?
Moby Dick.
Yeah. And then she's like, I hate everything about this. Stop doing what you're doing. But anyway, I was playing the drums at the time. I went to buy drumsticks. The guy's like, you should teach here. And then a week later, I submitted an application and I got a response immediately. They were super desperate. And I did it like this Skype call. It wasn't actually Skype. It was like a weird video call thing with the dudes out in California that run the lessons program. And they were like, can you...
So you had an interview with somebody in California in
Yeah,
order to
because
teach. And
that's where their lessons like department is. Corporate's weird, but they...
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So they interviewed me. It was basically like I submitted videos of myself. So I had to prepare a piece, which I didn't know about. So it got to the prepare a piece section, and I was just like, I'll play Take the A Train. And so I just like played a simple jazz AABA type deal. And then I had to do like a teaching demo. So they put a piece of sheet music, and they were like, so how would you teach this? Like, what would a student find difficult with this piece? So I think my response went over the maximum for that. So
yeah. So this is over
hopefully that's
video.
what
They
yeah.
like put the video down on this piece of paper. Like, what, how did they,
No, it
or
wasn't
they
like a
hold it up?
video. It wasn't a video call. It was like kind of like a video submission thing. So they're
Okay.
like they show you a picture, and then you get like 2 or 3 tries to record your response to it.
Weird.
Yeah, it was the weirdest experience I've ever had.
So you're doing this like virtual video exchange
Yeah.
interview thing.
I guess
and
like
is
the
it
idea.
timed?
Well, I mean, because of the time zone type deal, you know,
Yeah.
they're all over the country. So like, I don't want to be doing an interview at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
or I guess 9 at night if it's in California. I don't want to have to do their time. So it was a cool thing. I could submit it whenever. I think I submitted it
Well,
like
I guess
2
that makes
a.m.
sense of why it works. So you said your response to the sheet music analysis was way
Yeah,
above
it
and beyond.
passed maximum.
In
So
what way? Like, how did you know? Did this?
It went over the
Was
time,
it like
so
a
it
big
cut me off.
smiley face like that's your score?
But no, I didn't hear back from them. I just got a call. So I think I recorded at 2 a.m. at opening the next day at like 9:30. I got a call from this same British dude. His name's Tommy. I'll call him Tommy.
Okay.
And he's like, "Hey,
That's a good thing to call him.
I guess the interview went well. You want to come in to like check out our facilities?" I was like, "Is that an offer? I guess I don't know." So I went in.
Were you
They
still working at Steel Energy at this time?
Yeah, I was.
Did you
I
have
was-
to
yeah.
make that like?
Yeah,
I
it's-
take a sick day here.
No, I wasn't full time there. That's
Yeah.
what sucked. But I went there, and Tommy was like, "So this is your new boss?" I was like, I guess I got.
I guess this is happening all at once.
Cool, fine, awesome. He was like, "So this is your new room?" I
I've
was
heard
like,
about musicians saying things happen fast overnight, but I
Yeah.
never dreamed it would
It
happen
was
to me.
literally overnight, but
Overnight
it was cool.
success.
And then, so I walked in as a drum teacher, but it's Guitar Center. So like
Yeah.
I got a ton of guitar students because I played guitar, and then I taught more and more guitar students. A year later, I'm at 60 students every week.
Whoa.
So every week I'm seeing 60 new faces, and I'm running through the same stuff. I'm there for like 8 hours a day every day that I'm there, and it's a blast. I'm loving it. But I don't even teach drums anymore. So they're still looking for a drum teacher a year later.
So if any drummers out there want to spend some time, you just do your video submission to California.
Yeah, right. They're looking for a drum teacher as of right now. I think they have a couple ideas for it, but it was interesting.
You weren't playing you weren't playing guitar like live or out at all. You just went straight into like lessons doing it. Were you like practicing a lot on your own at home? Like how did you get up to that?
Oh, it freaked me
level?
out. My first day teaching there, I had 3 students. One was a 4-year-old playing the piano. He had never played the piano before. One was a 94-year-old woman playing the guitar, and the other was I think he's like in his 30s playing guitar, and he wanted input on how to write a song. And I'm like, I'm a 19-year-old kid going, huh? Right? So the 4-year-old was a blast. I taught him where C was. That kid knows where C is. I've been teaching him for a while.
Did you get confused as to which one it was based on your double C piano at home? Like, is it this one?
I could never get it right. I don't know. And the kid's like, what? It's one
like
of these two, yeah. And then the 94-year-old, 95-year-old woman, I don't remember how old she was. I only had one lesson with her, and I taught her...
That's all she needed. She was like, I'm good now.
She was coming in from another instructor. But we learned Fly Me to the Moon on guitar, which was a blast.
Was she acoustic, electric?
I can't even remember. I think she had an acoustic. But she was ripping it for her age.
But it was you were doing like teaching the chord structure or like the actual lead part to it.
I taught her open chords, because she knew her open chords. So I taught her the first chord of Fly Me to the Moon. I think is C major 7 or C major 9. But I just taught her like a C.
Yeah.
But then we just ran through the whole chart, and I wrote it out for her in standard notation. And then I went home and transcribed it all, like completely with all of the parts with the lyrics so she could read it in large text and everything. Never saw the woman again. I was like, oh, this is teaching. Nice. Yeah. And then the guy, the 30-year-old dude, I never had another lesson with him either because I totally bombed this lesson. He was like, so I got this chord progression. It goes G, C, D, and I'm wondering what can I do with it? I was like, you can go D7 because you're in the key of G. Like, why not just go dominant 7? He was like, okay. I'm looking for like lick ideas. Dude, what do you want from me? Like, I don't know.
Songwriting workshop.
This isn't, I don't write. Yeah. I said before this started, you were like, yeah, man, you want to play an original? I don't have any originals. I can't write music.
Have you ever written a song?
Yeah, I've written so many.
Okay.
Yeah, and only I have ever heard them.
Okay. So they're like secret songs.
Oh, they're horrible. But this guy wanted help in it, and I
It's kind of a weird request to come into a lesson and say like, "Oh, can you help me write a song?"
Yeah.
Like, we're not in a band
I've
together,
done it
man.
before. I've read some books on songwriting, and I've been comfortable doing that with students. But it's tough because it's so subjective.
Yeah.
Like if you want to write a song, you want to write a song that sounds like you. And the only thing I can do is teach you like proper resolutions and good cadences. That's it.
What kind of music do you like to listen to? Like, what's the stuff that you dig on? I mean, obviously you mentioned jazz and stuff.
It's all phases. I'm a big jazz guy. I usually listen to what I'm playing. So like every month I'm learning a new standard. And so I'll listen to like different versions of the standards that I'm listening to, or that I'm learning rather. Mm-hmm. But then my usual listening music, it varies from like classic folk and blues all the way to like modern electronica and weird techno vibe stuff.
Yeah. What do you look for in it? Because you mentioned about some people wanting to have you help them write songs, and only so much input you can give, and it's all subjective in terms of what's a good song or what's not. Like, what do you find music that you think is like a good song? What about it makes it a good song to you when you're listening? Because clearly genre isn't a thing that's specific for you.
No, not at all.
I'm a metalhead, or I only like jazz, or I only like country. So I
don't listen to screamo.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't listen to.
Okay.
I can't get into it. I don't get it. No, in a good song, it's got to be interesting to me. It can't be the same like formulaic garbage over and over. If there's an artist putting out the exact same song in a different key with a different drum track behind it, sometimes not even, that's boring to me. If you're putting out a whole album of that, still boring.
Yeah.
If it sounds like you pulled something off SoundCloud and nothing is composed and it's all just like lyrics and a backtrack, I'm not going to listen to that. And I'll respect it.
Right.
I'll respect the techniques that are used in it. But ultimately, I'm a very harmony-centric thinker. So a lot of my listening centers around like interesting chord progressions and interesting resolutions. Mm-hmm. And if something is, I'll only listen to so much 1-4-5 until I'm done.
Yeah.
So it either has to have a really good singer, really good timbre, really good rhythm, really interesting resolutions, or recently, really interesting lyrics. Up
Yeah.
until recently, I did not give a crap about lyrics.
Because you were
until
just about the tones and the
Yeah.
music aspect.
I
What got you into lyrics?
Bob Dylan.
That's everybody.
I think
Yes.
that's where you get into lyrics.
Yeah, he's arguably the one who made lyrics important and popular.
He's
music
about
rock.
the only singer that will win a Pulitzer Prize for writing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Every other musician, there are so many times Bob Dylan didn't play guitar on his records and just had another musician play, and he can't. Well, he can sing, but
Wasn't
he
Mike
can't sing.
Bloomfield
either.
playing with
Mike
him
Bloomfield,
in
yeah.
the and for
Highway
the like
61.
Rolling Stone days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played on that. That was back when he did
Bloomfield's
the.
great.
Bloomfield's
Yeah.
incredible. He also played.
What was his original band that? Or, no, I don't know if it was his original band, but who played in?
My dad's gonna kill me. Man.
Yeah, and it's like I'm
I
like
want to say it's Electric Flag. I could be wrong.
I'm like
I know
watching the
there's
YouTube
Bloomfield-
videos in my head.
There's Bloomfield, Cooper, and Stills. They had a
Okay.
band, which is Al Cooper who did the.
Did he do the key?
organ on the Dylan song?
Like Rolling Stone, yeah. Wasn't he like not supposed to even do that? He just like
Yeah,
snuck
yeah,
in,
yeah.
and Bob was like,
He
"What
Patrick's
is that in the mix?"
You know what? I have a laptop.
Yeah, search. What? There's a like Mike Bloomfield. Was he in Paul Butterfield? band?
Yeah,
Yes,
Paul
yes,
Butterfield band.
that's
yeah,
what it
yeah,
was.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I was
No, I
thinking.
mean, I know that, but he had his own, like...
Yeah, there was some. I just have these videos in my head of like YouTube videos.
He wasn't
of him
around
playing.
the band, was he? Those guys in New York? Because Bob Dylan worked with them. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, weren't they his backing band or
Yeah.
something?
All right, so we're
All right,
we're
producer
both correct.
Jesse's
All
here.
right.
Wikipedia.
He's got the
We
info.
have the Butterfield band,
Yep.
which is kind of like his
Where he got
somewhat
started.
I guess
Okay.
you could say, yeah.
He started in
Chicago.
Chicago,
Blues,
yeah.
Chicago.
His
Blues.
dad was like a lawyer or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of Bloomfield and Bloomfield, of course.
Oh, yeah, right?
But then
Nice.
Yeah, those needed to be straightened up. They're getting
Yeah.
out of hand.
then comes the Electric Flag.
Okay, Electric
So
Flag was
that's
what else he
like
was in.
67. I believe they played at
Yeah.
Monterey Pop.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah, he was like a
and then Al Cooper. Yeah.
performer, guitar player as well too. But anyways, but Dylan, that's what got us onto
Bloomfield played the same guitar as Ted Green. Same finish. Everyone plays a Telly.
Yeah.
But he
I
played the
know,
same
but
finish.
yeah.
So it was
Blonde
yeah.
Telly.
Yeah.
So what made you what Dylan
Bob
got you
Dylan?
into lyrics? Or what was there a particular song? Was it something you had heard before that you were digging in deep? Like what was the moment where you're suddenly like, lyrics matter, man?
Here's the long answer.
Good, we need it.
So, I personally don't hear lyrics unless I focus really, really hard. I hear solfege. I hear the solfege syllables of do, re,
What
mi,
does
fa, sol.
solfege mean?
That's the relative pitches.
Means you only care about yourself?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's me. The relative pitches, like the Latin and Italian, I think they're Italian, syllables used to represent the scale degrees. So in most cases, I've done so much ear training where it is, I hear like hot cross buns. I don't hear hot cross buns when people sing it. I hear mi, re, do, 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 re, 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 and so on and so forth. That's all I hear. Right, and that makes it really easy to learn things. But I've recently, as of like 6 months ago, tried to start singing. I've always hated my singing voice, and I'm trying.
Can you
to
sing right
improve
now
it.
for everybody?
I just did.
Yeah.
So screw you. I've hated my singing voice, and it's been a really big struggle for me. But I'm trying to learn covers because, as I said before, my songwriting isn't the best. Up to my personal standards. It doesn't
Yeah.
match what I hear in my head. So when I'm trying to learn these songs, I've realized it's a lot quicker to learn the songs by just listening to them and hearing the lyrics
Yeah.
than it is to okay, I get a notebook, I get a chart, I'll write out the chords on a chart, and then I'll write out all the lyrics by hand. I have 3 books full of lyrics by hand.
So this is why you have all those fancy pencils you were showing me.
Yeah, that's
So
the
what
other
are the
thing,
names
yeah.
of them? There's those special.
The Palomino Blackwings.
Yeah, those like fancy like flat erasers that are interchangeable, and you said they were banned for a while, or like or not being
They
made.
lost the patent to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's some crazy
the
story.
machine broke or something, and no one bought them. But yeah, I have three notebooks, and they're filled with the right hand side has the chart, meaning like the chord progression and the sections. The left hand side has the full text of the song, and then I will learn them on their own because I'm such like a ritualistic learner. So I'll learn the chart in full, and then I'll learn the lyrics in full, and then I'll learn the melody in full and try to fit all 3 of them together. Dude, it is so hard.
man.
It's
I
blowing
can't-
my mind just
Yeah.
imagining that. I'm like, I
I
could
can't
never
do
even.
it. And the 4 songs I've memorized, yes, I'm not exaggerating. The 4 songs I've memorized have been so simple. I've had to simplify them like crazy because I just can't do it. I can't listen to a song. So this is where it loops back. I'm starting to really focus on learning the lyrics and the melody at the same time. It's impossible for me. I was telling someone I sang a song. It's by these guys, the Milk Carton Kids. They're a modern.
Just
Cool.
listening to that.
Just
Yeah.
listen to that.
They're incredible. Modern
man.
folk band. If anyone hasn't listened to them, they have to.
Snake Eyes.
Oof.
Great song.
So I'm a big fan of Prologue, the 2011 record. Michigan in specific is a beautiful track. And it's written in a major key. It's written in C major, right? So you'd think that actually technically it's in B flat because it's in drop tuning. So you'd think that it would be a happy song. I listened to the harmony and melody and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. It's such a pretty love song. I played it for my girlfriend on a train ride and I was like, look, isn't this such a nice moment?
Lyrics.
She's like, this song sucks. This thing is terrible. I'm like, what are you talking about? Is it bad? I love this song. She's like, this
Don't
is
you
the-
like the drums too?
Yeah,
in the
right.
song? And-
Isn't this solo so nice and melodic? Oh man, listen to it. She's like, this song is about like a guy leaving his hometown. I don't even remember what I've sung this song so many times, I don't know what it's about. I have no clue. I've sang so many songs that I don't understand. I've sang, I just said the other night, Something Like Olivia by John Mayer. It's a blues tune. It's 12 bar blues. So
I
that was
saw
really
By
easy.
the way, that was really good.
The
Is it Instagram?
I think I recorded
Yeah.
it. Oh, that's another song. Okay, so hang on. So Something Like Olivia is about like I didn't know this until I was explained this. It's like I thought it was a love song. I was like, oh, I gotta have Olivia. Like Olivia is this beautiful woman and she's awesome. And it's like the line is, and I've sang it a million times. The line is. Now, I'm not trying to steal no love away from no one man, but if Olivia herself were at my door, I'd have to say I'd let her in. And I'm like, that's like kind of trying to get a girl to cheat on her guy. That's kind of messed up. I wouldn't want someone singing that about my girlfriend. So I was like, whoa, I don't understand lyrics at all. The other thing is this song that I posted on my Instagram. I've been trying to record Instagram covers.
What's your
lately.
Instagram
Which
handle?
was
People
very
want to.
good.
Thank you.
And
I
your
put-
voice sounded very good.
Thank you. Yeah, anything in falsetto is doable for me.
Yes.
I'm like Bon Iver. But my Instagram is my name, Patrick Worcester, spelled worst ER. I'm the worst.
WORSTER.
If you ever need to go to
Yeah.
an emergency room,
Yeah, right?
he's the worst.
I'm the worst. I was called the sauce in high school. Worcestershire.
Oh,
Oh, you know, I thought about that,
Yep.
and I was like, you know what? There's probably
let it slide.
background. I'm
Let
not
it
gonna.
slide.
I'm not gonna drop the Worcestershire sauce. Yeah.
what's this here
Cut a
sauce?
steak. So my Instagram, because I want to peddle this, is my name, Patrick Worcester Music. I have a private account too. It's just pictures of myself and
You're
my
never
family
gonna
and my
see it.
girlfriend. You can follow me. If I know you, I'm gonna let it go. If you're a creep, I'm not gonna let it go. But
Gatekeeping, yeah.
but
That private.
I am totally what I don't even know what the word is. It's
Confident.
public for my other account. You can go ahead and check all my covers out. You can make fun of them if you want. But
I'm gonna do that
the
right
cover-
now. Like while we're talking, where's my phone?
Pull it
I
up
shut
right
it
now.
off. I can't make fun of your
It's fine. Use my phone.
videos. Yeah. Do
the
that.
cover
I'm gonna save
of-
up all the insults in my head. I'm not listening to you anymore. I'm just like thinking about how I'm gonna trash
Write them
your
down.
videos.
I've got a couple pencils.
No, I can remember some.
This is derailed so quickly. We've changed the
we're not.
topic
This is-
7
it's
times.
only been-
I love it.
It's
It's
only
awesome.
been like 12 minutes.
My
man.
ADD,
Like,
ADD is acting up.
you're still at the neighbor's house, actually.
Yeah, right. Number
This is
5.
all just like a dream. You fell asleep in your car because you were so tired from your extensive shift at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And you've just been dreaming this whole thing
Oh,
in
cool.
preparation
Nice.
for doing this. So I
Nice.
hope you remember because you're going to have to repeat it all once you
Yeah.
get here.
No, I've been taking a mental catalog. No, this cover of You're Gonna Live Her. Whoa, can't talk
Who's
anymore.
Liver?
You're gonna live her. You're gonna.
Liver, I don't even know her.
I hardly know her. How old is he? You're Gonna Live Forever in Me by John Mayer. Gorgeous track off of his, I think, 2015 or 2016 record.
Was that when he went country? The backwoods
No,
thing? Or no?
actually, his I don't even remember what that one was, but it's his newest record. It
Oh,
just
okay,
came
after
out.
that.
It has "Still Feel Like Your Man" on it. That was the single. But this is one of the closer tracks on it. I think it's the second to last track, and it's a piano ballad with whistling. It's so basic and it's so quality, but. I loved it so much, so I decided to cover it on guitar. And then I listened back to it, like tried to learn the lyrics after I've already sung it 9 times for
Yeah.
9 takes. And I'm like, oh wow, I thought this song was like "You're Gonna Be With Me Forever," but it's actually you marrying another dude. It kind of sucks.
Whoa.
This song sucks. So this is all to say I don't understand lyrics.
So when you said you sang it 9 times, were you just doing the melody without the actual
By
words?
rote. I learned it by rote. I can understand harmony and melody by like understanding the melodic movement of it. But I'll
So you're
straight up
saying the words, but you're not paying attention to the words you're saying.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
And no, when you're deconstructing a song, when you said before, if you write out the chart for the chords, you write out the melody and the words, like, so you've heard it and you're able to like explode it in your head and separate it and then put it.
Yeah,
Do you
I
even
like,
try to do that? That's just how your brain processes it.
that's just how I learn, man. It's
That is
like
amazing. It's
I'll
like a gift.
It's
I don't know, but you're
it
saying
makes it harder to learn stuff.
Really?
So like I'll prepare myself. I'll intentionally put breaks in between verses and choruses, which there naturally are, but I'll intentionally put them in so that I can prepare myself like, okay, this verse starts off with these couple of words.
Yeah.
So like I have this song that I perform, it's a Theo Katzman tune. He played for
Oh,
Wolfgang.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Love is a Beautiful
Heartbreak-
Thing.
Oh, okay.
Although
Hits.
I love Heartbreak Hits, dude. That's a crazy record.
That's a very simplified
Yeah,
approach.
right. And he plays it all on a classical guitar. But this track, I put in pauses so I can say like, okay, love is a beautiful thing. Birds are singing songs down from the trees. Okay, birds are singing songs down from the trees, and like I have to prepare myself. It's like
Yeah.
studying. So it's tough, man. It's real tough. It's a process. But
So
it's
I initially asked about like when you got into lyrics. You said, "Oh, Bob Dylan is what you got you into lyrics."
Yeah.
Was that what did something happen when you were hearing a song that made that deconstruction process like go away for a period of
No,
time, and that's why
it's-
you paid attention? Like, what made you suddenly like snap into the thinking like of lyrics as opposed to exploding it out into the melody and the chords and all that instantly?
I think it was a lifetime of saying lyrics don't mean anything, and it was always saying like lyrics are just like the old saying like white people dance to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like that it's if you don't understand music, you listen to the lyrics, and that was a cliche for me. And then I remember
There's actually kind of a good argument within that because there are bands and songs where like I'll love the song but I don't remember the words.
Yeah.
And one day I'll be like, that's what those lyrics are. So the lyrics don't necessarily matter in terms of grabbing your attention always, depending.
I think it was-
I see your point there. I don't think that's off base at all.
the turning point might have been Bob Dylan was a turning point. I guess I'll say that really quickly. Was I watched a video essay on Bob Dylan and how he won some. This is going to sound really. He won a prize for his writing. For his writing, and it was like, this is how quality this writing is. So that's why I followed him.
Yeah.
But the turning point for me to actually focus on lyrics was I had recorded an instrumental track, and I was like, this is so cool. I love this. And then I played it for a couple of my buddies, and they were like, where's the music? I was like, what? This is very complex, difficult stuff. They're like, when someone's singing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, singing's important.
Yeah.
People connect to singing.
Yeah.
So that was the whole other aspect for me, man, and it really opened me up. And that's like my newest problem is trying to learn lyrics and learn how to sing stories. So Bob Dylan, the reason why I'm focusing on him is because I know his lyrics are important.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not studying something that's crap. It's like
Yeah.
if someone's trying to get into learning jazz, they're going to study Coltrane.
Yeah.
They're not going to study Starbucks smooth jazz.
Right.
They're going to study important stuff that's been time tested.
Okay, so you just know that there is a culturally accepted value in his lyrics. You're like, this is probably a good place to start digging into lyrics.
Yeah.
I would
And
agree.
you're on track with that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well,
He influenced
everyone has
everybody.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's covered his songs. So clearly there's something to do with them.
And there's just something that's so hard to put your finger on because he doesn't necessarily have a specific type style. Like there's certain periods in songs where he's got a lot of like what seemed like nonsense words thrown together. You know, like that song I think it's called Ballad of a Thin Man. You see something's
Yeah.
happening, but you don't know what it is. Do you, Mr. Jones? You know, it's something about like a one-eyed midget and a camel and a this and there's like all these weird things that don't mean anything. But then he'll have a very straightforward, like Tangled Up in Blue, which is like a novel in
Yeah.
a song. Yeah, there's like a
Bob, is
clear,
that you?
There's a clear theme. And it's a
Yeah.
very there's not any weird, unusual words or imagery. It's just a very straightforward, almost reporting style. But then you have something like, you know, Visions of Johanna, where it's like jewels and binoculars hang from the head of a mule. You're like, what is this about?
Yeah.
You know, psychedelic. But I think that's what's cool is he doesn't stick to one type of thing. So he explores a lot of territory.
When I started getting into Bob, I bought like 7.
First name basis now, I see. You know?
Yeah.
Me and Bob.
We go back. When I first got into his
When you
music,
get to call him Robert, that's when you know you're really in.
Bobby Boy.
Hey, Robbie
Rob.
Zim. Robbie Zim.
What's going on, my dude? When I first got into him, I went to Barnes & Noble, and I bought out their entire collection of Bob Dylan books. I think it was like 7 or 8 books that they had in store.
So you go all in on when you announce
Well,
something.
I was like, I don't understand this. Clearly, this has meaning. I want to understand the crap out of this. I remember a specific line from one of the books. It was, I think, In Dylan Town. I can't remember the author. But he was interviewing Dylan, and he said, now we're on last name basis. We're switching
Yeah,
back.
okay.
He was interviewing
Dylan
him.
Thomas?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that guy. He said, I write my music so that there isn't a single line you can poke your finger through. I'm pretty sure it was in that book. And that got me. I was like, so everything he says is important? Great. Now you're
Yeah.
making my job doubly hard. Awesome. But yeah, everything he says is important. And I'm just
Well, he's a
yeah.
mystical character too, though, because he does downplay and like dodge a lot. You know, there's some like interviews I've seen from the early '60s where
Yeah.
he's on the press everywhere and he's just like chain smoking, like looking around, and they're like, how would you describe your music?" He's like, "Oh, I'm more of a song and dance guy, really."
Yeah.
And just like very like.
There was an NBC interview from 1970 around there, and the guy, maybe it wasn't NBC, I don't know. The guy was like, so how long do you think you'll be playing folk rock for? And Bob Dylan goes, I don't play folk rock. And he's like, so what do you play? He's like, and then silence. And then it cuts. And it's like, he has no idea what he plays, but yet
Right.
everything he says is important. Screw you, dude.
It's like, I think he must like try to cultivate that mystique of never giving straight answers, but in that way it's probably the best because once you explain something, then it's like, well, that's the only interpretation that anyone's going
And
to
then
refer
you
to.
lock yourself into that.
Yeah, you don't
just
want-
like
you want
as
it to
soon as
be
you
free.
say you are a thing, then you are that thing because
Yeah.
people don't want change. People don't want you to change. They want you for what you are, and that's the artist's dilemma.
And I would also think people.
That's deep.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's
That's
there.
deep.
I would also think.
Time
that
is it?
people like at least I do, or I'm sure a lot of people do. You like to bring yourself into what you're hearing, so there's that.
People identify it
experience.
too. People
Yeah.
identify with
And
it.
if the artist is like, well, no, this song's really about that, you're like, well, I thought it was about this, and now that magic is ruined for you because you can't find yourself in it anymore. Because like, no, that was just about my dog that died, and
Well,
it's
that's
not
the
about...
the other hard thing that I'm finding is like when I write something down, it means a lot to me, but it means a lot to me, right? And so I don't want. I want to write it so it's free form, so that people are able to say like, "Oh, this means something to me." People can identify with that message, and that's tough to do because you have to meet people where they are.
Do you write lyrics first when you're doing this, or do you come up with a melody first and hang lyrics on it?
So I've done.
Age-old question.
Yeah.
It's a dilemma, and I'm always curious because everyone's got a different
it's
answer.
50-50, man.
Yeah. Even, within the same person, it can be like, oh, I do it this way sometimes, that way sometimes. I'm just curious because of the way you have talked about deconstructing songs. Like, do you treat that as like another piece that's been written and then you just work it in?
Yeah. So as I said,
What's
I'll
the
say
answer,
now.
Patches?
I know nothing about songwriting. Everything I know about songwriting
All those Dylan
is
books
zero.
didn't teach you anything?
They've taught me a lot about Dylan.
Oh God.
I've been just trying to learn, and I've been, I guess, songwriting for like 2 months seriously. Songwriting. 2 months. Every day of 2019, I've written something, whether it be lyrics or whether it be a chord progression, whether it be a melody.
Do you have you set a discipline for yourself? Like, I'm going to write something every day, or you
morning.
just naturally do it because that's what you
great,
do?
man.
When I wake up, it's what I do. I got
Yeah.
that from Joey V, actually, another local musician, because he writes a new song every day, start to
He
finish.
definitely
And
has
they're-
tons of songs.
And I hate him. I hate him because they're good. And the chords are so simple, and they're all 1-4-5, and the songs are awesome, and it pisses me off. It's like the same problem I had when I first started coming to these stupid open mics. I sit down, and I had just gotten back from learning like these really hard Julian Lage, Coltrane, like full Julian Lage specifically. I learned these full
Julian Lage?
jazz guitarist.
Okay.
I learned these full jazz reharmonizations, and like it takes me like months to learn these things, and they're so complex and they sound terrible. And then I go and listen to some awesome guy sit down with a cheapo $200 Fender acoustic guitar. We all know who I'm talking about, and it sounds amazing. And he's
Would this
playing,
be Mr. Chapman?
oh my god, he's playing complex stuff. He can play me. He can play me around the block every day of the week, but he's not playing difficult stuff at the basis of it. He's
Yeah.
playing a 12 bar. I teach 12 bar to 12-year-olds, right? But he's able to do it in a way that makes it sound so freaking good
Yeah.
that just blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
Well,
Plus
that's
his lyrics are incredible
Yeah,
too.
yeah. He's
He's a fan
incredible.
of that Dylan guy.
Yeah.
I believe.
might have been a few pages influence there, but yeah, you kind of hit on something there about the tug of war there is between musicians' music and like music people dig, like popular music, like, and it's such a almost like different worlds because
Yeah.
as you were saying, even being a musician and being learning these songs, you didn't like pay attention to lyrics, didn't know what they meant.
And now I realize they're so important.
Yeah.
Halfway through,
Well, but even still, I think a lot of people listening to popular music may not be paying attention to all the components of the song and how it's put together and understand the harmonies or dynamics or even anything. There's just something simple and primal that they're responding to, or there's a beat, or there's like a melody that's catchy or hooky, and it's not necessarily the complexity of it that's drawing them in. It's just like, I don't have to think about liking this. I just like it naturally, you know. And that's a weird tug of war between somebody who really knows and understands music like yourself, who's talking about it in a way, to then try to like figure out like, how do I dumb this down? Like, is that what it's?
It's not dumbing it down, but it is appealing to the masses.
Yeah.
And you can either want your music to be good for you or good for everyone. Like you have to appeal to someone. And if you appeal to yourself, cool, then 10 other people will like it. But and that's not to say you shouldn't love your music. But if you try to find a way to like, oh, people are digging this sound, I want to put out this sound. I want to make this sound something. I want people to hear this.
Yeah.
And people are gonna dig it, and you're gonna be successful. But it has to be a persona, and people don't just identify with the music or just the lyrics or just the drum beat or anything. They identify with the identity, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're selling a record, you're selling an image, and you have to be part of that image. Like if you're making an alternative rock record in 1992, you have to look like the
Probably wearing a shirt
12-year-old,
like this.
You have to look like the 12-year-olds who are going to be buying that record and ultimately dressing the same way that your sound should sound.
Yeah.
And in that way, you're not selling music, you're selling an idea. And that's how you would ultimately be successful.
What is that? You hit on a great concept there. What is that? How do you? How to put it? What do you see that doing to music in the greater sense? Okay, I'm trying to put this the right way. You hit on the idea of brand and imaging. You're selling an image with music, but as a musician, there's a lot more behind the music itself. Like, what does that do in terms of how you see popular music that's going on?
popular music has always sucked.
Yeah.
From a general, like, if you were to study popular music in a collegiate setting, it's not technically difficult. It's not interesting. There are some pop musicians that are killing it right now. I think we had a conversation, oh my gosh, this was like a month ago, and I mentioned Charlie Puth.
Yeah.
He is an incredible he writes incredible harmonies. His counter melodies and harmonies and counterpoint is incredible. It's just really good. Another great pop musician, I've always said John Mayer is an incredible musician because he's
Yeah.
able to put difficult concepts, relatively difficult, not as difficult as what some other artists are doing, into pop songs.
Yeah.
Right? People that can do that, like, they're not mutually exclusive. You don't have to have simple music be popular and difficult music be unpopular. And it's really easy to say, like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation, like all today's music sucks.
Yeah.
Today's music is advertised to you.
Right.
Right? And it's advertised to people like you. I'm kind of scatterbraining right now, but
No, it's
I guess I'll go back to saying it's not mutually exclusive. You
Yeah.
can have difficult music that is popular and vice versa. You can have simple music that is not very popular.
Now, what about in terms of music where there's the more the feeling is what's coming through as opposed to like the arrangements or the melodies, harmonies? Does that not like hit you in the same way? I guess you were mentioning with John Chapman how he plays a
He's
lot
got
of
so
blues
much
stuff, but to
emotion.
me it's like it's the feeling
Yeah.
that comes out of him that is
Yeah.
so engaging, and there's many other artists like that where it's not necessarily the complex. Like Van Morrison is a singer.
Yeah.
I say like something that he sings is always going to be engaging because there's something else coming out of him that's not
It's
in the music.
It's subtext.
Yeah. Does that stuff hit you, or is it not really
For
what?
popular music or in general?
In general, I don't know if that's an aspect of music that like invites
feel
you,
emotions.
to
Yeah.
play.
I
Like you're a sociopath who
Yeah.
doesn't feel emotions.
No, I
just meant the
I don't kill everyone I see.
you don't even have to see them sometimes.
Yeah. No, I feel emotions with music. For me, usually the strongest emotions are brought across with a neat musical concept or I actually I think I'm gonna change my answer on that.
Too late. It's already in
yeah,
pencil.
right?
You got no eraser.
It's already in pencil. You dick. I think sometimes I make music so sterile. I bring it like away from the emotion, and I need to stop doing that. I find that difficult to separate. Man, these are some difficult questions.
No one said this was going to be easy.
No, I know, right? No,
We're going to crucify you after this, so get ready.
Yeah, right. Yeah, march on Calvary.
We're going to pull your hairs out one by one.
Yeah. No, as far as emotion and music goes, I recognize that it's an important thing, and I try to personally do that in my performance. But sometimes I don't feel emotion, and
Yeah.
sometimes I do. There's this awesome recording that it was. There are a few times when I actually do hear lyrics. It's not all or nothing. And this one time I was kind of just feeling really down. It was years ago. And I went on YouTube, found this guy called Besides Daniel. You guys ever heard of this guy before? Super
Besides
awesome
Daniel.
YouTube artist. He didn't get super popular, and I don't mean to say that disrespectfully to him. His music's really incredible. But he has this one recording called Learn How to Fight. I've covered it once and then realized I don't have the emotions for this song because the one time I heard this song, I actually broke down crying, and it hasn't happened very often.
Yeah.
It's a song, it's just a breakup song. But his performance in his bedroom on a webcam with a crappy blue snowball mic and a guitar is the most emotional performance I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was just intense. Besides Daniel, Learn How to Fight, it's the acoustic version. He has a recording on streaming services as well. And that brought out emotion in me. But it has to take a certain
Yeah.
element to bring out emotion.
It has to hit the right way, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, sometimes it's sterile. I sterilize it because I'm looking at it like I'm doing an autopsy. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is the foot, this is the knee. I don't really know how autopsies work.
I think the foot and the knee are somehow connected by the leg bone connected to the head bone.
It's somewhere
connected
around
to,
there.
Well, no, we're talking aliens because alien autopsies are completely different. You have to do them like hyperbaric chambers.
Oh, really?
And you
Okay.
have to use actually lasers.
Can you grab me a notepad?
Yeah, well, you can just watch this back and get all my.
That's fair.
I've
That's
done
fair.
a lot of alien autopsies, so
Yep.
we should probably take this off the record.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because I
They're
can't
probably gonna
share
cut
all
it.
of my techniques here
Yep.
because
Say whatever I want now because it's gonna be taken off.
Yeah. This is not gonna be exposed for public hearing.
Yeah, but when you cut music down, it's difficult to invoke emotion when you cut music down to black and white, literally notes on a page.
Yeah.
So that's fair. Yeah.
I guess that is the struggle, as you said, with creating music that's meaningful to other people.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to know.
And now
It's hard
here's
to know what someone's going to
here's a
respond to.
boomerang or I guess a transfer from earlier is it's hard, in my opinion, to convey emotion in a pop song.
Yeah.
Right? In a top 40 track that is compressed for the radio. Right, and it's just so streamlined, and it's so like there's no dynamic range. It stays in one spot, and it doesn't move. It's a straight arrow. It's difficult to express an emotion in that. I don't know too much about electronic music. I just listen to it. It sounds cool, but it's hard to express an emotion with electronic music.
Yeah.
It's possible,
I
but
would
it's hard.
agree, yeah. I mean, I'm not that versed, but like I've listened to a lot of Nine Inch Nails, and Trent Reznor has a way of somehow making it sound more organic than others.
And there's
like,
artists that can do
something-
that. There's this
yeah.
really cool, again, YouTube artist called Pogo. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. Really cool music.
We got a lot of homework to do after this.
Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff. Pogo is a rabbit hole, literally. He
Rabbits disappear around him?
He has. Well, here's the thing. He takes Disney, like classic Disney movies, like Alice in Wonderland and all that stuff, and he'll sample them. Up is a really good one. The movie Up, Pixar. But he'll sample them and then make songs about them.
Whoa.
That conveys an emotion. But he's sampling things. I feel like
Yeah.
sampling something is different than creating an organic sound.
Yeah.
Another artist that's screw me, but the Avalanches. You listen to them? Okay. Whoa.
How do you find all these things? Just like
Raw
minding
emotion.
YouTube?
Avalanches is technically a hip hop sampling group.
Okay.
I think one of their records had 50,000 samples in it.
Wow.
Yeah, they've only released 2. So
The whole sampling thing in general, I'm like mixed about it. I understand there was like a new art form that was created, and clearly it works
Yeah.
because people like it and they dig it, and it's been the predominant form of music, since it came
And,
out.
yeah.
But to me, it's almost like collages. It's like you can't. I don't put him in the same category as a songwriter.
well,
who-
Kanye does it. Kanye samples a lot, and he songwrites with it, right?
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I guess maybe I'm wrapping my brain in the wrong ways. Like, well, okay, if you're writing a blues song, well, you're kind of sampling the original blues. Who wrote it?
You're
know?
sampling the six
the guys
strings
who
of the
wrote
guitar.
the original blues progressions
Yeah.
weren't even the ones that you hear in recordings. Robert Johnson. This and that's like there was somebody else before him who didn't get recorded. You know, that
here's
it
the
came from.
Other cool thing, and there's a literary term for this. I'm not totally read up on this, but it's when you sample something, you are I want to say cross reference. I know that's not the term.
Illusion.
It's like basically like you write something and then I quote that and it's copyright infringement. No, but it's like I take the emotion that you conveyed and the meaning that you had
Yeah.
and I just insert that into mine, and that now my creation is a bastard child of my ideas and your emotion. And then it also references you, right?
So you're referencing that
if I'm
whole
making sure
thing.
not to plagiarize, it references you, and then people can go read yours, and then
Yeah.
you've got an idea. So sampling kind of allows for that idea.
All right, I see what you mean. Yeah, when something gets back to the Bob Dylan thing, there's that Hootie and the Blowfish song,
Yeah.
I Only Want to Be With You, and they take a whole verse from
Exactly.
Tangled Up in Blue. They shot a man named Gray, took his wife to Italy.
And
You
that's,
know,
oh
they
gosh,
take a
I wish
whole-
I knew that term. I'm going to Google it afterward, and I'm going to be so upset that I didn't remember
Yeah,
it.
it's some form of like a tip of the hat. To
Yeah,
like the other-
it's homage,
Homage,
in
yeah,
a way,
yeah.
but homage is not, it's
not pastiche. That's when you're like imitating something.
Yeah, are we referencing In Bruges right now? You've seen In Bruges? Oh, damn.
I have.
Okay, you know
is
what I'm
this?
talking about then with the drug dealer from Bruges the Belgian drug dealer. She's like, "Homage is too strong. It's pastiche." Yeah.
No, I had no idea what you're talking about.
That's a direct reference, but it's not homage, but it's a word like that. And in sampling, you can do that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like meme culture, almost.
Yeah,
like it's a
and
reference,
you're right.
right?
It's
like we just reference
closer to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
as opposed to creating it. So yeah, it's a hard thing to categorize because it's like knowing music and being a musician, learning an instrument, and all that time that you spend playing and trying to write songs, and then there's a songwriter who does that and gets a hit song. Like that's way more impressive to me than somebody who takes an already popular 80s song, samples the hookiest part of the chorus, and then says words in between that. It's like, well, of course that's going to be a hit. It already was a hit 20 years ago, and you're just taking the hookiest bit of that and reusing it. Like, how are you winning an award that's supposed to be the same as like a Leonard Cohen winning that award? Like they're not.
When you
comparable.
cross-reference and when you sample, you have to add something to the original work. Otherwise, you're literally plagiarizing. You're literally taking
like
someone else's
Bismarck,
work
he
for
didn't
your
he straight up rip off a song and
own. A
get
direct rip-off.
get
Yeah.
in trouble for that. He took it too far too soon.
And it's possible to do that. I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I reference Kanye just because he's the most big name person that's sampling right now. But I think of what's the song? I know it's off of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy when he references.
So not versed in his music.
No, it's fine.
I've
It's,
tried to listen to it a few times just to like get to understand. Like I have to listen to full albums before I make any judgment, and I just couldn't quite get into it. I don't know why.
He references. He samples King Crimson, 21st Century Schizoid Man. Yeah, I can't remember the track, and such a good song too.
Yeah.
Love that album.
Oh yeah. But I wish that I knew the name of the song. I feel really bad that I'm blanking on all this stuff now.
I think my favorite King Crimson is Discipline. You ever listen to that album?
That's it. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of really cool singles off of that one. I
such a crazy
fell in
album.
love with 21st Century because of it's in the Court of Crimson.
Court of the Crimson Cry.
Epitaph. Is that the name of the record?
No, that's a song.
That's a song.
In the Court of the Crimson
I got
King is
turned
the-
on to that record because of Children of Men, 2008 film.
Yeah.
Really
Clive
good
Owen,
movie.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Right. Well, the world.
Like,
well,
nobody
I'm not gonna
had
spoil
babies.
It,
There was
but
one pregnant person.
Yeah, well, okay. No, you can
Spoiler
spoil
alert,
it.
this
That's fine.
movie's old enough. If you haven't seen it, like,
It's, 11 years old, guys.
Yeah.
Come on. Really great film. And they reference Pink Floyd Animals. They
Yeah.
reference in there.
Which-
they have in the background of one of the scenes or one
Is
of the
there a big
shots,
pig flying
it's
through
a pig
smokestacks?
flying
Really?
above the actual factory in the original because it takes place in England.
oh,
So,
wow.
genius.
Storm Thornton. I don't know
Genius.
anything about Pink Floyd.
I know, right?
On the posters up on the
It's
wall.
up there. Yeah, it's up there. It was that.
That song's
You're
so
a
relevant.
liar. Yeah.
That squealing pig noise of guitar. Like,
Yeah. It's almost like they had a sound. Yeah, but references are cool, man. And in songwriting, you can use those references to make your work. Either you can make it cheesy and cheapen it, or you can make it more valuable because
Yeah.
you include someone else's ideas.
And I guess, in a way that's sort of like what Quentin Tarantino does with films. Like, he's such a film nerd that there's a lot of things like in his films that are like kind of
They rely
referencing
on
a
other
lot
things,
of stuff. And like, it's almost like he makes films for film nerds in a way.
Yeah.
That where, people who are more steeped in it will get more of the things that are going
Yeah,
on.
like
than
he
your
has the
average
Wilhelm
viewer.
scream in every. I mean, everyone has a Wilhelm scream in every film ever.
What's
He
that?
was in. Oh.
What's the
you don't
Wilhelm
know.
scream?
It's
I
like-
guess I don't know.
It's a film meme that like in your film, if you put this one scream from, I think it was from a movie called Wilhelm, but I know that's incorrect. I know it was in Star Wars. But if you put this scream in as a sound effect when someone like gets blown up, then like, oh, like you did it, like you did the thing, like that's.
Well, what
the
is it,
meme.
like a person who's like screaming when they're
Yeah, it's like a ow, like that, and,
Okay.
and it's in Star Wars. But it's kind of like the jazz lick, like the da 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 da. Like that's the same idea.
Yeah.
Like if you include that in your solo, you're a nerd, and screw you for doing that.
Yeah.
So if you include it in your film,
Yeah,
you did it. You did
get
it.
some kind of joke.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I learned something there about
Yeah,
Tarantino.
the Wilhelm, and then this guy James Blake. I don't know if you ever listened to him. He has a song called "The Wilhelm Scream,"
Really?
which sounds terrible. I don't like this. but,
man.
but it's named after the same thing. So that referencing, right?
Yeah, referencing.
Everything's a reference.
I guess that's why meme culture works. There's something about the referring to something you already know that
Yeah.
rewards the brain, and it's like, you know.
And like SpongeBob memes, that's such a
Yeah.
terrible example. But like everyone watched
I'm so glad you
SpongeBob.
brought up SpongeBob memes.
Yeah, right.
I love that show.
My name's Patrick. Have you not? SpongeBob, right? But everyone has seen SpongeBob usually, and everyone who's gonna see those memes has seen SpongeBob, so they all get it. They all get
Yeah.
the joke.
The common cultural reference.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Man.
all part of the same idea.
Yeah, I guess so. It puts it in like a little bit different category, you know, in terms of like creating an original. What's really original?
Nothing's original.
Everything's being influenced by something else. So even someone who thinks they're creating an original thing, it's like you don't realize you're a conglomeration of every influence you ever had. So we're essentially sampling everyone that we've listened to in some convoluted
There's a
way.
really cool. I used to be really into video essays. There's a really cool video essay called "Everything is a Sample" or "Everything is a Reference." I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's exactly that topic. It's exactly that.
Yeah, we don't realize that we're actually all being influenced by everything we've experienced. So it's sort
You're
of
the
hard to
product
separate.
of your own environment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
totally nurture.
How are we doing on time here? Are we going good? So
I mean, whatever. I mean,
no, it's just some wormholes. We forget where we are, rabbit
Yeah.
holes, and all of that.
I think the initial question was, how's your last name pronounced again?
Yeah,
that's how we got here.
Oh, so how is it? No, you're still sleeping at the neighbor's house. Actually.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, number 5.
So in all of this, okay, we're talking about the different dynamics of music, the aspects of you analyzing it and doing alien autopsies, then lyrics and Bob
Neat
Dylan and writing. Like, what do you want to do with music that you're making? I know that you've got the other aspect of being an educator and you love doing lessons, and there's like that other interaction with music as a job, but also you said it's fun to do. But like music that you want to write and or perform, like what would that?
I want to create.
What would you want to do with that?
I want to create something that. Oh man, this is such a hard question. Because it's not strictly something that I'm going to enjoy, and it's not strictly something that other people are going to enjoy exclusively. I don't want to be locked into that. Mm-hmm. But I guess I want to be in a place where I can put something out that I'm proud of and that represents my artistry, and that also is attainable. Someone can reach it. Someone can understand it.
Accessible.
Accessible is totally the word that I was trying to say. You saw it right here. I want to make something accessible that that represents me as a musician and all of the things that I've taken and all of the stuff that I've studied and all of the stuff that I've obsessed about and the little quirks that I have. I want to make that.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
With creativity, sometimes the constraints are making more interesting.
Yeah.
When you say like, okay, I want to put something in a certain accessible format, the pop format, whatever you choose, it limits down what you're allowed to do. Because if you just say, well, I don't want any constraints, then like you can do a free form 30-minute thing, but like. How can anyone decide if it's good or not or whatever?
Yeah, and freeform's tough because it needs to be accessible, as you said. It needs to be understandable. People can't identify with it. Then what are you making it for? People aren't going to understand your message.
What do you see music like functioning as in the bigger picture? Let's say human society at large. I know this is a huge scope of a question.
Well,
but
music's everywhere. You literally can't escape it. I didn't mean to interrupt the rest of your question. Please finish.
No, I was just trying to rephrase and say the same thing 3 times in a row to give you a chance to think. But no, I didn't need to say anymore. It's like, what does it mean to the human experience? What does it mean to the people in the world, culture, society? What do you see as functioning and doing for people?
So, music's an escape, but it's also it's always there. Music is perpetually there. It's always, whether you are in the car, it's probably on. Whether you're in the grocery store, it's probably on. It's going to be there.
Yeah.
So, people need to find, of course, something that they can identify with, and it's more than just an art form, and it's more than just an entertainment. It's somewhere in that gray area.
Yeah.
And it's something that like is creative but also expressive, which I guess is a synonym, but it really isn't.
No, they're different.
Yeah. That's tough.
Now, what do you think its importance is to society? Like, what does it do for? Why is it so important? Why is it so pervasive? Why is it all around us?
Well, if you take a cross section of the music that was going on in a specific time in history, usually it expresses how people were thinking. I guess music is a way of preserving history, and that's one way of thinking of it.
Yeah. Now, what about when there's music that clearly transcends, time periods where we can hear some. Well,
Timeless
I guess
music.
it's
Yeah.
that's actually I'm putting it in a certain box because we don't have music before a certain period of time when recording was invented, so we don't know
Yeah.
a lot. I guess there's the sheet music
Like
of things
Gregorian
written.
chants and how they wrote stuff down.
Yeah, we don't know what it all sounded like at the time, but like when there's something like a song from the 30s or whatever that's still someone this now can hear it and dig it and like
Yeah.
it. What
Like
do you
me.
think that speaks to? Huh?
Like me, because
Well, yeah, with the
all the
jazz
stuff
stuff
I
you
listen to is
those things weren't
was
written now, so
recorded, yeah.
it's not indicative of where you are. Does it make you feel like you're understanding something about that past time period, or that has nothing to do with it? It's just like these are just pleasing.
Sometimes
sounds.
messages are timeless. Sometimes you can write something with a message that can be identified with by anyone.
Right. Well, maybe that's the trick. The thing we were talking about, like how do you make music that's interesting and important as well? It's like, well, then that must be why that stuff is still sticking around.
Yeah.
Because there's some human emotion or feeling that is, it's striking through, even if there's no words, because people can listen to music and where the words are in a different language.
Yeah.
And you're still getting something from it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It is like a universal language, I would say, more so than anything people say math is. But math, you have to understand the language of math to some extent to even engage with
music, Music, you just listen to it.
Yeah, as long
It's
as you
just
have
there.
ears that work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people are deaf, which is terrible. But if you have ears, like it's hitting you the same way in the same time, and
you're able to draw your own meaning from it wherever you are.
yeah, like there could the idea of a concert I love because there's hundreds or thousands or however many people all in one area, but the music that the art we're all there for is hitting us all at the exact same time.
And everyone's got a different experience.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
But you're all if you're watching a movie or something, you have to be paying attention to it and looking at the screen. There's a little more engagement. Reading a book is a much more
very active.
interactive.
Yeah.
You have to read and decipher the words. But music, it's like it's there whether you're trying to listen to it or not. It's like it's hitting everyone's eardrums, and that's like it's like magic. I think of it as because it's just moving air. It's not really like a physical thing. There's air movement that's hitting our eardrums.
Yeah.
And it does affect everybody instantaneously who can hear it.
That's why people dig it.
Yeah. So what's the future for you and Power Dad and whatever else, and any solo things you're thinking about recording or songwriting? What's going on with Power Dad? And
Well, Power Dad is awesome. Also on Instagram at Power Dad Music.
yeah,
We put music after a lot of our handles.
most people know what they're going for.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, as I said. Patrick Worster Music, Worster is the last name. I'm gonna stick with what I'm doing right now, which is just trying to perfect my craft and understand.
Yeah.
And from there I'll work on building my own stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so tough.
So is Power Dad, you guys got any gigs lined up? Anything you're playing? You're still in the writing phase?
We're still writing. We're still
Yeah.
writing like crazy. We'll be playing at some open mics every now and then.
Oh yeah,
We
maybe,
do.
Maybe
We do.
dip a toe in here and there. Come check us out. Yeah,
We get around.
at the O'Brien's open mic. I know I've seen you guys play. I always, I'm not quite sure who all is in the band because I've seen all of you play with other people in a different arrangement.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone's jumping up and jamming.
It's
like,
just sorta
now,
like-
what snapshot is actually
This
the band?
music is the band. This music is that band. This music, yeah. No,
So
Power
who all's in the
Dad's-
band? Who's the?
So as of right now, we've got myself on rhythm guitar, Joe Tro on lead guitar, Jackson Pryor Bennett on bass, and Julian is the newest addition on drums.
Okay, so I did
he's
see
right
all of you guys actually performing together. I wasn't sure if that was the true band.
We hadn't rehearsed that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was
could have fooled me because you did.
We had written it that day, and we hadn't really rehearsed our parts. We just rehearsed them on our own, and it sounded dope. I
It
was
sounded
digging
awesome, yeah. Okay, Power Dad is the band to check out if you want to see Patrick playing live. I almost called you Pat.
It's all good.
I know that's not acceptable. And until then, we'll wait for the next installments. But any last things you want to let people know, or any last thoughts about music?
You got all my thoughts.
I know.
Last thoughts
Closing
about
words.
me.
You don't have to have any. This is not a have to situation.
Yeah. Keep your eyes out for more stuff uploaded to my social media, Instagram, YouTube. I'll keep doing that and keep updates.
Yeah.
So definitely put a follow. Follow that. Follow
that stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Heck yeah, man.
Thanks for coming out. I'm so glad you made it. I mean, I learned a lot about you and about just music in general. And this has been an awesome episode. I'm sure we'll do another one at some point.
Gladly.
All right.
Heck
well.
Nice. Do you have to chime out?
Yeah, we'll chime out. We'll do a chime out.
Okay.
You're not allowed to move until I chime out.
Oh, man.
Not allowed to talk either.